The Rolls-Royce sat in our driveway like a quiet victory. Not loud, not arrogant, just earned. My wife had worked for 20 years to reach this point. Late nights, early mornings, and a career where nothing was handed to her. This car wasn't about status. It was proof. We had just moved into Pinehurst Estates, hoping for a fresh start. New house, new neighbors, no titles, no attention. But attention found us anyway. A man across the street stopped watering his lawn and stared too long. A white security SUV idled at the corner like it was waiting for instructions. I noticed everything. I always did. That night, while unpacking my home office, I labeled a folder on my computer. Pinot Noir. I didn't know why yet. I just knew I would need it. The knock came before dinner. A thick-necked man in a black polo stood on our porch. "Community security," he said, already scanning past me. "No greeting. No welcome." He pointed at the camera I was installing. Exterior cameras require HOA approval. I asked him to show me where that rule was written. He didn't like that. Instead, he photographed our car and claimed it was too close to the street. It wasn't. I had the survey. Before leaving, he said the HOA president expected us at orientation. Mandatory, he added. That word lingered. When the door closed, my wife looked at me calmly. "We agreed," she said. "No vayas. We're just neighbors." I nodded and started reading HOA documents until midnight. 3 days later, metal screamed. I ran outside to find my wife's parked car crushed at the rear. A silver SUV sat crooked in the street, steam rising. The driver stepped out. She didn't ask if anyone was hurt. She didn't apologize. She asked who had parked that thing there. I told her it was our driveway. She blamed a dog. There was no dog. Then she blamed us, said our car was dangerous, improper, irresponsible. I opened my phone and started recording. Her eyes flicked to the camera, just for a moment. That was when her tone changed. She said people don't buy cars like this honestly. She implied things, criminal things. I told her we should exchange insurance and call police. She laughed. Instead, she dialed 911. Right there, on my driveway. She reported our car as suspicious, possibly stolen, suggested we might be dangerous. The security guard arrived and stood beside her like a bodyguard. They already had a story. I stayed quiet and kept recording. Because when someone lies confidently, the smartest move is to let them finish. Police arrived. Facts did their work quickly. The car was registered. The footage was clear. The citation went to her. She wasn't arrested. She wasn't even embarrassed. She promised this wasn't over. That night, my wife came home and ran her hand over the damaged metal. She didn't raise her voice. She said, "We do this properly, as citizens." So I did what I do best. I built a case. The more I read, the clearer it became. HOA bylaws had been changed without votes. Fines were selective. The same families appeared again and again in violation notices. People who challenged the board moved away quietly. Former board members confirmed it. Neighbors whispered stories they'd never shared publicly. This wasn't about us. We were just new. And new people were easier to test. Until they weren't. The emergency HOA meeting was packed. 83 residents. More than double the usual crowd. The HOA president spoke first. 12 years of service. Trembling voice, practiced concern. Then I stood. I didn't insult. I didn't threaten. I showed documentation, police reports, public court records, patterns anyone could understand. One neighbor spoke up, then another. The room shifted, and the president panicked. She pulled out her phone and called 911 again. Said we were disrupting the meeting. Said residents felt unsafe. 83 witnesses watched her do it. That's when my wife stood up. She walked forward calmly and identified herself, not as a threat, as a fact. The silence that followed was absolute. The room changed instantly, not fear, understanding. The second false emergency call was documented. So was the first. The security contractor quietly disappeared weeks later. The board resigned under pressure. Insurance paid. Records were corrected. No shouting. No revenge. Just accountability. We didn't move there to fight. We moved there to live quietly. But power that survives on intimidation collapses when faced with patience and proof. Authority without accountability is fragile. And people who abuse systems always assume no one will challenge them. Until someone does. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. Truth doesn't need volume. It just needs evidence. And when it finally speaks, everyone hears it.